This morning we're taking a look at something that challenges many millennials today, job interviews.
I read recently that there are 4 million postings per month, and for any given job posting, there are about 250 to 300 applicants. Still, only 23% of the applicants get an interview.
That's crazy. Also, according to an April 2008 survey by the U.S. Department of Labor, the average job search is reported to be 16.9 weeks long.
That's longer than it takes to find a needle in a haystack.
Experts say many reasons why you may not be getting the job or even the interview have everything to do with your actions and behavior. 76% of recruiters will reject a resume for containing an unprofessional email address.
So my Crazy Copper 101 email isn't appropriate, I guess?
No, Danielle, you might not be getting too many job offers after seeing that one.
Oh, well, thank God I'm not the one searching.
And even if they do have a decent email, 70% of companies have reported turning down applicants based on what they find about a candidate online via Facebook, Twitter, and other social media platforms.
Maybe I should take down that picture of me playing juice pong in the courtyard.
Okay, Danielle, good thing you have this job. On a more serious note, do you want to be that person without a job 3 years after graduating? If not, then listen up. There are things you can do to get the interview and ways to make it worthwhile. From body language to vocal cues and facial expressions, stay tuned for what not to do and the ways that you can more likely beat the odds, land an interview, and leave with the career of your dreams. Watch as Hannah sits down with a few people today to hear some different perspectives on the interview process.
I will be talking to a number of individuals about their experiences in the interviewing process. Right now I'm here with Joseph Mercadante, an NYU career coach. How are you?
I'm great, thank you for having me.
So would you please explain for us what exactly your job entails and how long have you been doing it?
I've been in my current role as career coach at NYU since November 2015. In my role, I've had many different responsibilities. Since I'm an assistant director / career coach, I do many things. First, as part of my role as the career coach, I meet with about 20 students a week to help them with any of their career-related questions. This includes resume and cover letter reviewing, mock interviewing, and preparing for interviews, administering assessments to reflect on their strengths and passions, discussing potential career options and paths for them to take and how to be successful in that path. Also within my role, I facilitate seminars and workshops on many different topics for students such as Networking 101, social media networking, resume and cover letters, as well as leveraging your leadership experience in your job search process.
So how do you best prepare someone for an interview?
Within our office, we offer weekly workshops that students can attend to learn interviewing tips and tricks. I also encourage them to practice a lot ahead of time.
Now before we go, what is your biggest piece of advice for someone going into an interview?
Have questions ready to ask the employer at the interview. This is huge.
Earlier today, I also sat down with Mr. Ebling, the headmaster at Fairfield Ward High School. He has a lot of experience with hiring and interviewing many candidates for becoming a part of the staff in the school. Here are some highlights from our discussion.
You know, somewhere in the neighborhood of probably about 200 interviews, if not more. So you do look for people that have eye contact with you. I always look for people that smile, that are friendly, that they have a firm handshake, they, connect with you. I wouldn't want to minimize the importance of that first impression. So appropriate dress is always something that, people that, don't have excessive jewelries or nose rings or lip rings or things like that that can be distracting. Ask them one question and they talk way too much. When you stop connecting with the other people in the group, that's when you know that, it's time to stop answering the question.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things there. For so long, you can actually hear dry mouth. They're shuffling papers for some reason. The leg, you can often see the leg going up and down. Some people clear their throat a lot. That's a nervous kind of condition, and they do that a lot. Be prepared and be yourself.
We caught up with some people on the street and asked them about their experiences and knowledge in the job search and interview process. Listen to what they had to say.
About how many interviews have you been on?
I've been on over 200 interviews, approximately one a month for a long time.
Can you explain the process for how you go about hiring a new employee, whether that's a doctor or someone working in the office?
I always ask for a candidate to reply with a cover letter and a resume, not just a resume. I ask for a cover letter because I get to see a little more about the individual's personality, the grammar, and sometimes I can tell what they're motivated by. Because, anyone can throw together a resume, but the cover letter gives more of a look into the person's life and who they are. It's sort of a less structured way to allow them to reveal something about themselves, their personality, their goals, than a resume does.
What is the most stressful part of an interview?
You don't always know what they're looking for.
How do you best prepare for an interview?
I usually get the job description and then I research the company that I'm going to be interviewing at. Then I find out, if I can, who's on the interview committee and find out some information about them. But most importantly, I pay close attention to videos like this.
Out of all the applications you receive, how many do you typically contact for an interview? And what about the resumes of those individuals that influences your decision?
I will not pick someone who started a new job every year or two for the last 8 years. I generally don't choose people who are under or too overqualified candidates.
What is one piece of advice you would give to someone going through the interview process?
Definitely prepare beforehand so you can be more confident during the interview.
What advice would you give someone firstly on compiling a resume, but also on coming in for a face-to-face interview?
Dress up as if you're going to somewhere ultra-important. Even if you're applying for a job as a housekeeper, come to the interview in your Sunday best because it shows self-respect. Your hygiene, cleanliness, and appearance are important. No heavy makeup, heavy perfume, dirty fingernails. Punctuality is incredibly important. As far as impressions, strong handshake, eye contact, warm smile.
Have you ever taken any workshops? And are they helpful?
I've done several workshops, and especially workshops with resume enhancements. It's important to have people look at your resume so they can look at the language that you're using and see if the language is crafted towards the place that you're interviewing at.
An interview provides a great opportunity for a recruiter to observe an individual using the psychological behavioral approach, which states that all behavior is observable and that it is determined by outcomes and consequences. The typical desired candidate is intrinsically motivated, meaning they are motivated by themselves and not by an outside force. They have interpersonal intelligence, one of Gardner's 8 types of intelligence, that is the ability to understand and interact effectively with others, both verbally and non-verbally, as well as be flexible and sensitive to the moods of others. The ideal candidate also has a mild temperament and tends not to rationalize, which is when someone gives excuses and false reasons to justify their bad behavior. In the following interview, keep an eye on how the applicant's behavior is being received, but also keep in mind that physical appearance, handshake, eye contact, and body language are crucial to how a recruiter perceives an applicant even before their behavior is revealed. Now let's take a look at what not to do in an interview and the behaviors that will leave you in the dust.
Hi, I'm Nicole Villam, and I will be conducting your interview today, which was supposed to start like 20 minutes ago, but please take a seat.
Sorry, yeah, I was running a little late.
Molly, you need to be on time or at least 2 hours early. This is unacceptable and a terrible way to start off the interview.
Who even are you?
Okay, can we begin?
Yeah. Okay, Molly, this is very colloquial language. I need you to step up the formality. Nicole can read your typey personality, and that's not a good thing. You can't be so relaxed here, maybe at home, but sit up, get some energy.
So I just have a couple of questions for you so I can get to know you better and see if you're fit for the position.
Okay, yeah, I'm ready.
I'm glad you have some caffeine in your system, but please, that is so unprofessional.
So Molly, what are some of your weaknesses?
I really don't have any.
Okay.
Yeah, I really feel as though I'm perfect in every way, shape, and form.
Molly, no. Nobody's perfect. You have such a self-serving bias. You can't just see yourself favorably. Be honest and truthful of your downfalls, and reflect on your tendencies more deeply. Also, you need to smile. Right now, it seems like you have no interest in being here. Facial feedback will suit you well, because being forced to smile might make you have a more enjoyable interview. And Nicole over here will enjoy your presence more.
Well, next question. Why do you want this job?
Well, I saw that you were hiring, and I thought I'd be really good for your company, and I fit the position really well, plus I needed a job.
Molly, stop. Smiling is a good thing, but not that much. You need to take it down a notch. You're making Nicole over here feel very uncomfortable. Also, be more specific with your answers.
Okay then, next question. What are some of your goals?
Well, I want to be really successful and make a lot of money.
Well, of course you do, Molly. We all want that. but you need to be more specific and relate it back to this job. They want to see an interviewee with some intrinsic motivation. Talk about your own goals, not some extrinsic motivation at the end.
Well, okay, now why did you leave your last job?
Well, me and my boss had some differences. You could say we didn't get along very well, and things just didn't end well.
Well, at least you're honest. However, that doesn't make you sound appealing to Nicole over here.
Alrighty then, what can you do for us that other candidates can't?
I can bring lots of energy to your company, and I think I would just be a really good fit for everything that your company is looking for.
Molly, too much eye contact.
Next question, what are 3 positive things that your last boss would say about you?
Well, they would say, I'm a really good person, I'm really funny, and I get along well with, most people.
Not enough eye contact. And what the heck does that even mean? Think more divergently. There's so many less redundant answers you could have thought of and things more helpful and creative that would actually tell Nicole what you're like.
Next, what salary are you looking for?
Well, I've had lots of jobs, and I have a lot of past experience, so I think I should at least get, 20 an hour.
I don't know where you got all this experience from, and I don't understand how anyone let you pass an initial interview. You must have repressed all of your knowledge from past interviews, if you even had any.
Okay, and lastly, this is just a fun question that we like to ask all of our candidates. If you were an animal, which animal would you be?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think I'd be a butterfly because they're super pretty, or an elephant because they're very valuable, just like me.
Okay, thanks so much for coming in. You'll hear back from us shortly. Are there any other questions you have for us?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
No, always ask questions. Oh my goodness, girly. Better go looking for a new job. And put on some pants!
Thank you, Danielle, for that inside look at exactly what not to do in that interview.
So essentially, there are a few components every millennial should be keeping in mind when going off on that 17-week job hunt. Physical presentation and factors on your resume may ruin your chances at getting the job before you even begin answering the questions.
But when you do sit down for that interview, please keep in mind your behavior is being observed by the recruiter from the moment you walk in. So don't trip in your heels or choke on your bubble gum that you shouldn't be chewing anyways, and your interview will go just swell.
Also keep in mind it's best not to have a self-serving bias.
But do present yourself as being both a divergent thinker and intrinsically motivated. Facial feedback can also be helpful to improve your mood and how the recruiter perceives your temperament, which should be appeared as mild.
We hope these tips will help all the millennials out there beating the odds and becoming that #1 candidate in a pool of 4 million peacelovedogs@yahoo.com emails that gets the job of their dreams.
Thanks for joining us today on the Millennial Minute. See you next time.
How do you best prepare for an interview?
Of others. The ideal candidate also has the ideal. You have 5 minutes.
I feel like when I talk, I blink. And I just noticed that.
How are you?
No, it's like Millennial Minute. No, it's like a little twitch. It's a little twitch.
I always ask for a candidate to reply with a cover letter and a resume, not just a resume. I always ask.
Okay.
We started, so whenever you're ready.
Oh God.
Because, anyone can.
Location and factors on your resume may ruin your chances at getting the job.
Oh my gosh. No.
Just do your first.
No.
Oh my god.
God, I'm on a roll right now.
Okay.
Right. I'm doing so well.
Okay, this has been so
Oscar worthy. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just feeling a little late.
Nicole, what? You're not Nicole.
We
We have to talk loud.
It's going to be. I don't know what I'm doing.